Hello, Jennifer from Astronan, and today we are talking all about our Grace Tote bag. I love our Grace Tote bag. It is a great bag to use for every day. And before we open this one up and see what we get inside, let's have a look at some of the things that you can do with our Grace Tote bag. This one here I have just stenciled with paint in the gusset, and I have done some Kawandi style embellishing by machine on the outside, which is a really fun quick way to embellish the Grace Tote. This one I have stenciled the background. Obviously I have done all three pieces, so the front, the back and the gusset, and then I have added in these really cute little 3D flowers that I made. Another way of using our Grace Tote or embellishing is, again, you can do some stenciling, and this one I have done some layers of applique. It's a fun way of being able to utilize lots of different threads and different stitches on your machine as well. This one, no stenciling, but I did embellish the sides, the gussets, because that's what I like to do. You don't have to. This is when you have a kit, you do it however you would like it to be done. But this was a fun way of using hexagons, just as a completely different way, using them for applique, and again some more hexagons, but lots of little ones, and we've done some micro quilting over the top. So tons of ways of utilizing or embellishing your Grace Tote. This one I have also lined too, so you can do that. Lots of options. So let's have a look at what we get inside our Grace Tote. Okay, so let's open up our Grace Tote and see what we get inside. The noisy bit. So for our Grace Tote, we have our front and back piece, or front and back, whichever way you want it to be. All of our kits come with a pocket that's already pre-stitched in. So depending on your embellishing, sometimes you might want to take it out and then re-stitch it back in, but it's there. That's our pocket. We have our gusset piece. So really simple. We have the three pieces, and we're stitching them together. We're just obviously stitching those two together. So again, the idea with our kits is that you get to spend the time doing the embellishing, and the actual construction is really simple. Tried to do all the hard work for you. Comes with some instructions. We have our handles, and our handles are snap-on handles because our eyelets are already pre-punched in there. And you'll notice there is an eyelet in the end of each of the gussets as well. That's so that if you just want to have a single handle, you can do so just across the top. We also have a magnetic leather closure and some pins and needles. So that's those there. So that's everything that you get in your kit. And now we will start on the assembly. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do after our embellishing, of course, or you might want to do this before, depending on what your embellishing is to sew on our magnetic closure. Our magnetic closure, or all of our hardware, comes with pre-punched holes in it. Sometimes you might want to just clean out the hole. Occasionally there can be a little bit of leftover leather residue in there, so you might want to clean that out. I'm going to hand sew this closure on. If you want to see another video where I have stitched one of these magnetic closures on by machine, you can check our Anna Tote video, but I'm going to hand sew this one. The first thing I need to do is just check the center. Pop a pin in there for the center. And get my needle and thread ready. I'm using Wonderfil's home deck thread, which I'll actually stitch this together with later. A home deck is super strong. It's a multi-filament thread, great for lots of different applications, but where you want something super strong, we don't have to have it super strong, but that's just the one that I'm using today. And I actually don't need to have a double thingy, so just got a knot in the end. And now I am just going to take my needle with my thread, and I'm going to just start in the middle somewhere, but I'm not going all the way through the felt, so you can't see the needle coming through the other way. And just want to make sure that that's not going to pull through. Okay, now I'm just going to pop the needle through and get that somewhere there, positioned in the middle. So I'm holding that. You could pin it in, but I'm just going to hold it, and now I'm just feeling and going part of the way through the felt. I've gone through past a couple of holes, and then I'm going to go back and go in, because I'm just going part of the way through the felt. It's a little harder to go in each of the holes right now, and so we'll go around 2 times and get all of those holes covered. Because if you're doing some embellishing and you want to make a feature of the closure, you can do that as well, but I'm trying to hide the closure. And another thing, if you choose to line it, you could always put the closure down a bit lower as well if you wanted to do that. If you are going to line your Grace Tote, I tend to just do the lining to this point here and then hand sew it down. So I can just feel, and you can see there I don't have any stitching lines or stitching marks or thread on the right side. So I am just missing a hole. And coming back. Get rid of the pin now. And now I would just go and do those other holes that I missed before. So just joining the dots, so to speak. Just turn it around. Almost there. Just get into the right little hole there. Okay, and back into there, and I'm just coming through out of the felt, and I will tie that off, pull that tight under there and thread that through, and then we can just hide our thread. And there we have it, one side, so you can't see anything on that side, and it's still all nicely anchored on through the center of the felt. Now it's just to do the other side. Okay, so we've got that side done. What I've done here is I've just popped the other side of our closure on the top there, and taking our other side of our Grace Tote and just measuring or marrying it up together there. You can feel that it's all nice and neat together, and pick that up, and now I know that's where I need to stitch my other closure on. So I'm just going to pin this one on this time. That's it there, and we'll just do the same process as before. So I've got a knot in my thread, and I'm going to go through the center part of the felt, make sure oh, there's a pin that I can see there, so make sure that we're not going all the way through, just to hide our thread. And we'll do the same as before. You know, we just run around and stitch it all down. It is a bit easier to manipulate the felt without that pin, so I would suggest taking it out fairly quickly. Okay. And there we have it. There's our two side panels with our magnetic closure in, all stitched in. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to pin our gusset to our front or back. And first thing to do is we just check and get the center of our gusset. Pop a pin in there, and we should be right with our center here. Our center in our body piece has already got a little notch there, so can you see that little nick there? That is the center. Now, I'm going to flip because I like to stitch my gusset piece onto the body piece, and that way when it comes to doing these corners we can just manipulate the felt there around the corner. So we'll pin it on. Just marrying up the front to the top of the edge there. And instead, when we're going around this corner here, we will just be folding the felt back a little bit as we stitch it. And just keep going all the way around. Okay, so we're all pinned together there. Now we'll get to the machine and stitch it together. Right, so our next step is to stitch it all together. And again, here you can get creative as to how wide a seam allowance you want to have. That's entirely up to you. Same thing with the thread. Depending on how you've embellished it, you might want to have a contrast thread, or you can have a thread that blends in where you can't see the thread at all. I'm doing a black thread, so it's going to be a little bit of a contrast. And depending on how you want your seam allowance to look as to what your stitch length or width is, sorry. I'm going to do a narrow one here, and I like to use an open toe foot for a lot of my embellishing, so I've still got that one on here, and I find that it's easy to have the edge of the felt lined up with the inside of the foot, and that gives me a nice even seam allowance. Just stitch through. It might be thickish felt, but it is actually really easy to work with and to manipulate around. So just keeping my edges even. And working around. Move that over. And there we have it. We do have, nice gentle curves here as we go around, and you can see it fits in perfectly. So now we'll do the other side. we have it. Okay, look, there we have it. There is our Grace Tote all put together. And that was super simple, right? The last thing that we need to do is to snap on our handles, and these just pop in through the eyelets or the grommets. Now, I've enclosed 2 straps. 2 because a lot of times we like to have a bag where we have the 2 straps sitting in here. But if you wanted to do just one, we have the option where you can just put the one handle through the side gussets there. We're going to put the 2 on today, and super simple. Just press it against. Oh, it's a bit harder when you're trying to do it on camera, but press it against there and snap it on. There it is. And we'll do the other side. Done. And done. There we are, one Grace Tote. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video on how to put together our Grace Tote kit. Don't forget to like or subscribe to see more of our putting together of our Astronan felt kits. And always, yes, if you need any assistance with anything, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And you can always find more inspiration on our Instagram, Facebook and Pinterest pages as well. So look forward to seeing you next time.